Can we actually sue DPS for the involvement in I-style action and detainments? And the short answer is yes.
And by no means is this a hit piece. On the contrary, it's a reminder that as a public servant, you swore an oath to protect the Constitution and the people of Texas. So with that being said, let's jump into some of the repercussions that a DPS officer may be facing after all this is said and done.
First, constitutional violation. If there's any racial profiling, unlawful detention, or excessive force, individual officers don't get an automatic pass. Qualified immunity collapses when the rights violated were already clearly established. The ICE agents have already been detained, have already faced litigation, or are barely starting to face litigation. Second reason is because of federal preemption. Programs like 287G can and will be challenged. Is the equivalent of walking across a tightrope. One wrong authoritative move because you're trying to act as federal authority, which you aren't, especially right now when everything's being recorded. Even if you do something that you didn't mean to do, that's already a strike, and it's a big strike. Third, tort claims. Like false arrests, when DPS acts under federal authority, they can fall under the Federal Tort Claim Act. In other words, the federal tort claim, if you arrest the wrong person, you're essentially waiving the state immunity, and now you can be sued under the Federal Tort Claim Act. If DPS is acting under federal orders and you mess up in a way that violates rules, not a judgment call, then you are left vulnerable for a tort claim. Now the fourth and final stop, civil rights. Section 1938 Civil Rights Claim. You can't get damages from the state itself, but you can go after officers and you can get injunctive relief to stop the behavior. In other words, DPS, Section 1983 is basically the law that lets you hold government employees personally responsible when they violate your rights. You can't sue the state of Texas directly for that money. So your sheriff, your constable that signed you up can't save you. And they probably won't be saved either because of this. You can ask a judge for an order telling DPS or its officers to stop the illegal behavior altogether. That's called an injunction. It's one of the most powerful tools because it forces the agency to change what it's doing. So in other words, someone somewhere is going to file a lawsuit. And those of you that jumped head in first will be in trouble. You don't have much immunity. Not only that, you will be labeled treasonous. Brown versus Board of Education and Roe versus Wade. My solution, DPS, if you really ask me, would be to turn a blind eye. Your sheriff nor your colleagues need to return those millions of dollars. Keep it, hold on to it, invest in equipment, invest in your community, invest in the children that don't have Christmas gifts.